in the perfect world, it's like people believe that can just happen overnight. Maybe it'll happen to them overnight, and maybe it will, and that's great. But life isn't perfect. Life's really hard, and life's really messy, and life's like really crap a lot of the time.
Thing is, like, without our like days that are down here, we can't see and appreciate and feel the days that are up here. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we record this podcast, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respect to elders past and present. Hi and welcome to Boldly Me. I'm Chloé Hayden and I'm an actor, author, disability activist and motivational speaker. In this podcast, I'll be chatting to people who are living boldly and are unapologetically themselves. Today, I am so excited to be speaking to Amy Taylor. Amy is the lead singer of Amyl and the Sniffers. Amyl and the Sniffers have released 2 studio albums and have toured the world, hitting the stage at both Glastonbury and Coachella. Last year, they were up for 6 ARIAs and took home 2 for Best Group and Best Rock Album. Amy joins me now. Amy, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
It's so nice to meet you.
Likewise.
You have such a cool vibe. I saw you walking in and I was like, oh my God, she's so cool.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I love to start all of my episodes off with a what you're fixating on at the moment. So it could be a hobby, a topic, a person, a place, a thing, a song. What are you fixating on?
Let me think. Well, if I just off the top of my head, I feel like because I'm reading this book at the moment and it's about, it's kind of about being more present and worrying less. It's not necessarily like meditation or anything, but it's more just about like unnecessary, arbitrary worries that we like highlight for no reason.
What's it called?
I can't remember. I think it's called 40,000 weeks or 4,000 weeks or something. It's about, It's like we've only got 4,000 weeks basically alive on this planet, and it's like what you do to spend with them, which I find really interesting.
That would, number one, send me into an existential crisis. I hate thinking about like time and how long we have.
I know, yeah.
But also, that sounds great.
Because I feel like I've been in a mild existential crisis in general lately.
It's like,
so
same.
I was like
me
reading
too.
it, and it's kind of quite soothing.
Love it. Oh my God, I need to read that. Okay, so to put it in scientific terms, popped off recently.
Yeah.
I saw you when I went to the ARIAs.
Hell yeah.
And you came on stage with your band and I was like, who is this person? We were losing it. Like,
hell yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but like for all the other artists, everyone was just like in their chair going like, oh, good show.
Yeah.
You came on, people were storming to have a mosh pit. Like, I don't even think the ARIAs was meant to have a mosh pit. And people were like full storming down. Like, you've got such an incredible, not just fan base and community, but people are so drawn. Like, people see you and go, I want to be part of that.
Thank you. Well, that's what I want. It's like I want people to feel like, like they just want to like,
to it.
You know, when you see something, it just makes you want to like punch the air.
Yes,
and just like, I want people to feel like that.
It feels good. You go like, that's the energy I need. The aura.
Like exciting and just fill people with life and feeling and just like expression. That's just what I want people to do.
Which you're doing, not just at the ARIAs and on TikTok, but on massive. That's it. You can go home now. But like a massive worldwide stage. You played at Coachella.
Yeah, that's right.
What the heck?
I know, crazy, hey?
Congratulations.
And Glastonbury.
Yeah,
some
like,
crazy
that's
stuff.
Crazy. What is that? Because you grew up with quite humble beginnings, obviously.
Yeah.
What does that explain to me how that feels to be on the stage of Glastonbury and Coachella and to be on the biggest stages in the world?
It's so bizarre, and it's funny because I feel like for me, it's like the stuff that I grew up listening to, it was all bands that were just playing locally. So I never really saw any bands or musicians playing those stages where I was like, oh, that could be me or that might be me or anything like that. So every time that's kind of happened, I'm like, this is so surreal and I don't really understand at all what's happening.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, oh, yeah, cool, I get to play a show and I get to like rock out and stuff, but I'm not necessarily like aware of what its significance and its cultural significance, and like I'm just kind of existing and it's all like unfolding and I'm like, holy shit.
Do you find that when you have like your more quiet days or when you get home and get into bed, you just go, whoa.
Yeah,
that happens.
I feel like that's happening right now, like what I was talking about with the existentialism or whatever, where it's like we've stopped tour. Last year we did 110 shows.
Wow.
And then we've kind of only stopped in the last like month. And I'm like, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, holy hell, this is like crazy. My life's really gone bananas.
Yeah, when you actually have to like stop and actually kind of see what other people are seeing.
Yeah.
And go, what, this is cool. Like, this is big.
Yeah,
like, this is really cool stuff.
Because it's out of my control. It's just like a never-ending snowball, which I'm glad to be riding. But it's
yeah. But I guess, it's like you're kind of riding it and then going, oh. And then it stops for a second. You go, that was a pretty hectic thing that I'm doing right now.
I mean, you probably feel really similar. Like, it's probably just one thing after the other, and then next you stop and you're like, oh my God, who am I?
And I think the other thing as well, I don't know if you have a similar experience, but obviously we've done so much work behind the scenes and leading up to it and you know, small gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But people, and I don't know if it's the same for you and your bands, but people kind of go like, oh, overnight success.
Yeah.
You know? And I think having that and actually being able to look back and be like, I've been working on this for so long, and then all of a sudden, whether it's a song or a show or whatever, it blows up and people start seeing it, and you go, even though you've been working on it for so long, it does feel like overnight.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
Like,
yeah.
it's like, how did that change?
Yeah, because it's like you look and it's snapped and it's different. Like, it's like your life's not the same, and you like look at a photo from a year ago, like, I'm not the same, nothing's the same.
I'm like, I look at a photo from a week ago and I go, who is that?
Who's that bitch?
Yeah, it's crazy. You have such an incredible stage presence.
Thank you.
And appear so bold and so confident. Have you always had that mentality? Have you always been that confident? And if not, how did you get to where you are now?
Let me think. I feel like, in a way, yes and no. I've been both always kind of thing. Like, I've like when I was growing up, it's like I was confident, but I was also super shy, and I still feel that way now. Like, I feel like for me, it's like on the stage is where I just fully get to express myself, and that's a place where I've created for myself where I am just completely confident and I am staunch, and it reminds the person who's off stage that that's what I want to be doing as well.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like I have always been confident. I've always been friendly, but I've also been sassy. It's like so nuanced, you know. It's probably similar with you, where it's like we're so outward and so confident, but at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of having like two different little aspects of your personality. And I'm the same, like when I'm performing, when I'm on stage, when I'm filming things, I am still 100% the truest, probably more so the truest version of myself when I'm doing what makes me happy, and I'm loud and I'm energetic and I'm confident. But then I'll go home and I won't talk to anyone, and I'll hang out with my dog and I'll watch movies all night, and I'm like, I'm not going to be that same person. But I think oddly when I'm performing and I guess kind of, you know, quote unquote, you know, playing pretend, I guess, that's actually when I feel the most like myself, and I'm like, this is what I was born to do. This is why I am here. And then you like being able to see all like the crowd of people and be like, hell yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I feel really similar. And I feel like, just thinking about it now, it's something to do with adrenaline. It's like the more adrenaline, the more I function.
Yeah.
So when it starts to run out, it's like that's almost like my fuel. So it's like if there's a situation that's like not intimidating, although I don't find performing intimidating, and I never have. It's like I've always found that more comfortable, or like I always find the more like thrilling and hard things more comfortable than, say, something that is comfortable or like relaxing or calm. It's kind of like, to me, that's almost more intense, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean I have to like sit still for like 2 hours and like talk politely or something? Like, you know what I mean?
Or even just having a conversation with like I hate one-on-one conversations. I'm like, I don't know what
it's
the
too
script.
intimate.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't know what the script. Or even if I'm performing and like it's just to my mum and dad, they're like, oh, like show me your monologue that you're gonna do. No way.
Yeah.
But if it's to a like crowd of like 10,000 people, done.
I feel like it's something to do with maybe like exhibitionism, where it's like to perform in front of people or to be in front of people. Mm-hmm. It's like I rise to that occasion. Whereas, if it was just one person watching me, I'd be like,
hate it.
I'm embarrassed.
Look away.
I feel embarrassed.
Yes,
but
me
it's
too.
Like I don't feel embarrassed the more people that are
I'm
there.
like, no, this is where I'm supposed to be. What has it been like for you to have to see the response? To see the response of so many people?
Honestly, it's just nice more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I feel really, I'm like, every time somebody says like, oh, I like your music, or like comes up and says like, hi, or whatever, or like I look out as an audience, it's like, it's just really flattering. It makes me feel really happy that like people are resonating with it. And, you know, especially like the last album, like I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of the lyrics. I'm proud of the crap we've done. So I'm like, I'm pumped on it mainly. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does freak me out sometimes playing the bigger shows, but only in the sense where, again, it's like I never grew up appreciating bigger shows. So I don't understand what it's like to be a fan in a bigger shows. I can't put myself in their shoes necessarily.
Right, of course. You grew up in Mullumbimby.
Yeah, yep.
And worked at an IGA.
Yeah, hell yeah. Deli department for years.
Love it. When you were working at an IGA in Mullumbimby, did you think this is what your life was going to become?
I always knew it'd be crazy just because of
because of who you are.
Of who I am naturally. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, maybe one day I'll own a Woolworths, or like, I was like, whatever it was going to be, it was going to be big.
You're going to have a cool story, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause I was hungry for cool stories and put myself in positions that were always uncomfortable. Like, I'm always afraid of the next position or doing something crazy, but I just put myself in them anyway because I want to have a hectic life. I want to be turbo.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah, of course. You want your story to be full of wicked chapters.
Yeah, like Forrest Gump or whatever. Where it's he did like 9 different things in his life, or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember, but he's like was a sailor or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's so cool because I've kind of like I grew up selectively mute. I grew up knowing that my mind wasn't what society wanted it to be, but I also grew up going, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a performer.
Yeah.
People are going to know who I am. And, like, my parents were like, hey, you can't even speak. Like, unless you're going to be a French mime, like, that's not going to happen. And I was like, yeah, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And, like, similarly, I was just like, I know I'm not here to be, like, an NPC.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm here to live a sick life.
Yeah. Live large.
Live large.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Literally.
Let's talk about your music for a bit. So... First of all, something I'm obsessed about, this tickles my brain itch so good. You don't hide your accent in your songs at all.
I couldn't if I wanted to.
Have you tried singing like with the kind of like toning down American accent?
I feel like there was a period where I was like, okay, my accent's so hectic, I need to like try and like class this up. And I'd walk around. It was during COVID when we had masks on. And I'd walk around with my mask on and like practice saying things more like eloquently. I'd be like, hello. My name, and try and like pronounce things properly and stuff like that.
Girl, that sounded the exact same thing right now.
That's the thing, I couldn't even if I wanted to, I don't think.
Yeah, right. A lot of Australian singers do have that kind of more toned down accent.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel the pressure to conform to that in order to be able to break into like a worldwide platform?
Funnily enough, no. Like I've always been really proud of it, and it's something that people have like very celebrated since
and loved about your music.
So it's been very easy to just kind of accept that part. Whereas it's more like if I do feel like I want to conform, it's when I'm speaking and I'm, pronouncing my words so crazily, and I'm like, I sound like a crow basically. I'm like, sometimes I wish I could speak more fluently, but I just can't, and I like that about me.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's so wicked, and the same as everything else you've said. It's so big and it's so you.
Yeah.
And I think such a massive reason as to why not just Australians, but like the globe likes your music. I think it's sick.
Yeah, and I think people think it's like exotic or whatever. A lot of people are like, oh, she must be British or something.
British?
I'm like, are you joking? I'm like, don't call me that.
Do you find that people ever make assumptions? Because your songs are big and loud, but they also have really important shit that people really need to hear. Do you find, like, first of all, do people make assumptions based on the sound and based on how you look and stuff before they actually kind of get the message?
I think so. I think a lot of people in general just around me make assumptions, and a lot of them can be negative. It's most of the time they are negative over positive because people never understand the nuances, and people don't want things to be complicated. They want to simplify it, act like they understand it and that they're smarter than it or better than it, or, that they get it and that, or something like that. Whereas it's like everybody's so complicated, and especially me and especially the music. And it's like, I think people think that I'm very one-dimensional, or they go like, oh, because the way she looks and dresses, like, oh, her ass cheeks are out and she must be a dumb ass, or like, because of the way she speaks, she must be like uneducated. And look, I'm not crazy educated, but I've read books and like I'm interested. And like the main thing is that I'm hungry to learn and I ask questions, and that's what a smart person does, rather than being like the most intelligent thing in the world. Or like, yeah, it's like, because of the way I dress, it's like, oh, she must be a skank or whatever it is. But it's like all these kind of like prejudice wrapped up in one. But it's I'm just existing, and it can be complicated for people to understand that, I think.
And making a change by doing that. And that's the thing, I think, first of all, the messages that you're speaking about are so incredibly important to hear, but also perhaps in a way that probably a lot of people haven't been able to actually hear from before. Like I feel like a lot of these topics, we often hear about them in a political sense and in a serious context sense. And then people come to your shows and you're jumping in a mosh pit and crowd surfing and you're talking about really serious, important things. You're reaching a crowd of people that may not have been able to be otherwise reached because of the way that it's been going out before.
Yeah, I think it's really special about our audience because there is such a mixed crowd. Like it's like old blokes, old women, young people, like whatever it is, it's all mixed. So it's like it's a bunch of people together in a room listening to a variety of different things. And it's like all I'm trying to do is show my perspective, which is a lot of people can relate to that perspective and show that, like, people who are different to just that average white male bloke who are also genuinely, most people like that have good hearts as well. It's like everyone just wants to get along basically and just be accepted for whatever they are and just not have to hide that so that if it compromises their safety kind of thing. So I feel like that's what's good about our audience is all coming together. Like even like a song like Knifey of ours, which is about walking home safe at night, and like that just doesn't exist to walk home safe at night. It's like a lot of because the bandmates of mine are male, and they've like said like, oh, a lot of our friends who are all in male bands like listen to that and they cry because they just like so like moved by what you're saying.
Perspective, and a perspective that probably hasn't been spoken about, and like you said, hasn't been spoken about in that sort of way before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
being in the industry, being a person of public interest, how do you handle judgment?
Sometimes I get judged a lot in a lot of different ways, and like I feel like I just want to be a bitch to people who judge me. So I feel like
Screw you.
Like I feel like I just want to take them down, and like I never flex my power, but I do have power, and people should show me more respect because people.
Period.
So like if we go back, it's like people make assumptions, and then they come at me with those assumptions, like, oh, you're on a label, like what little label intern runs your account or whatever, and it's like, actually, shut up, you don't know me, you don't know what I do.
Yeah, of course.
Like, just because I don't talk about everything publicly doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And if you dumb enough to think that and you want to come at me, you never supported me from the start. There's all these people who never supported me from the start and they still don't.
Yeah.
And they don't own me. And I feel like that's probably the main thing with judgment, is they either feel like they own me or they're threatened by me or they don't understand me. But it's like, I'm not for you and I never was for you. So like, get the fuck out of my face. Oop, there's an F-bomb.
No, oh my God, no. Tattoo that. Okay, I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think as well, the fact that you are talking about topics that are, unfortunately, something that is still taboo and is still bizarrely controversial. Yeah. Which causes that judgment and causes, I guess, fear in a lot of people as well.
Yeah, that's right. And especially coming from the punk scene, which is meant to be so welcoming, but in a lot of ways, it's really quite judgmental. And there's a lot of expectations and there's a lot of rules in that community that, like, are super limiting. Like, oh, you know, you shouldn't do it. It's a classic kind of, like, don't be successful or whatever. But that's my dreams. And I don't understand why a lot of people are so unhappy that we're chasing something that we want to be doing.
And so there's literally nothing wrong with things. Like, you're getting out there. Your music is being heard. Your words are being heard.
Exactly. And it's not like I'm like a Dani, like making mines. But, you know, it's like I'm like just singing songs that are like political and about going to the pub. And it's like, that's dope. That's enough.
And people are listening and people want to listen and it draws a crowd. And I've had literally the same thing recently. I got an Instagram message last week and it was from someone who was like, I miss when you didn't have success and when you were relatable. And I was like, I was depressed. Yeah. Like, and I haven't changed at all. I'm just now doing what I've always done and people are now listening to it. It's like, I think people's perception of success is so different too. Like, success for me is being able to share my story and having people listen to it and hopefully implementing some form of positive change while doing so. Like,
that's right. And it's like, that's not evil. It's like, it's just like,
there's literally nothing evil, especially with the messages we're talking about. And I'm literally saying, I want people to get home and not be murdered. I'm literally saying, hey, maybe we should treat women a bit better.
That's right.
And people are like, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. So there's a lot of craziness and like a lot of, just like intensity and stuff that comes with being someone in the public eye or whatever. And it's like, what do you do? I don't know. At this point, I'm like, I just want to stand up for myself more. I feel like there's so many times, like what I was kind of saying before, it's like I don't really flex my power much, but it's like there's all these people that just constantly slag and rag and drag. And it's like, well, hang the hell on a second, because I could come at you like a bowl of fire, but I've chosen not to for this however long. But treat me with respect, basically.
And the other thing as well is I think that like the greatest showcase to them sometimes isn't responding and is going and doing your sold out tours and your headline shows and your like Coachellas and stuff like that.
That's right.
That's the response.
Exactly.
It's like, say what you want, but I'm selling out tours right now.
Yeah, that's right. Like, exactly. And it's like, if I think about somebody being inspired by what I was doing, I'd want them to go like, because I feel like it's like you're going to be hated no matter what you do. And it's like people will judge you. And there's that kind of old saying like, oh, nobody really cares what you do, so just do it anyway. But I think that's a lie. I think lots of people genuinely do care and they want to make how much they care known to you to bring you down. But I feel like if I was to give advice, it would be like, just don't even listen to those people. They're going to come at you. Just keep doing whatever you're doing.
People are going to come at you anyway. They might as well come at you for something that you're passionate about and that you stand true to yourself about.
That's right, exactly.
You are so bold and so brave. What do you do on days that you don't feel that braveness?
I just cry and shake like a leaf.
Same.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I just like skulk around and like hide myself a little bit, and that's kind of fine. It's like I just need to do that sometimes. Chuck on a hoodie or a little hat, or just sit at home and like watch trash movies or whatever it is. It just kind of like not resist it too much, because I think that's just part of it. It's like if I was just bald all the time, then that would be, unnatural. Because it's like,
yes,
it's like what I meant to. That would be like a sociopath essentially. Like, I feel
no one can be on all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's like I just try and lean into it, and then it passes quicker. And like I'm not ashamed to not be confident all the time, even though it's like you kind of do need to have your armor to exist, because the more people that know you, the more armor you need, etc., etc.
Of course.
But mainly the only time I don't like it is when I feel like I'm being rude to say if I'm feeling crappy or not confident and I have to like interact with people and I'm being an asshole, then I'm like, that sucks. But other than that,
yeah,
it just is what it is, basically.
But the thing is, as well, is like you said, no one is like that all the time.
Yeah.
You can't be like that all the time.
That's right.
And I think telling people that and showcasing that is really, really important, because I don't know if you get the same, but you being such a bold person yourself, I know when people look at me, they see the colours and they see the flowers and they see the bright makeup and they go, oh, well, you don't have bad days.
Yeah.
And, that's all well and good for you to be happy all the time, but I'm not like that. And it's like, I'm not like this all the time either. I cry.
Yeah.
I get upset and I get stressed.
Yeah.
And I have like days where like for 5 days at a time, I won't leave my bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the human experience.
That's
and
right.
I think it's so important to, first of all, for people to understand that what we see, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or live in front of our faces, is we're only seeing the perfect snapshot of someone's life.
We're
seeing the highlights reel. We're seeing what people want to see.
Yeah, that's right. And as well, it's like the algorithm favors that. It's like, aside from like human nature, it's like the actual algorithm. It's like it only wants to spit things that get you riled up. So it's like if seeing somebody who appears perfect to you is what riles you up, it's like the algorithm will just feed more of that to you anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like a crazy sick web, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's like I've gone through like really dark phases where it's like impossible to leave the house, had like anxiety attacks every week. And it's like, that's why I feel like this point in my life is so special as well, because it's like, I feel like I've earned it. It's like, I know what it's like to feel shit and I feel good.
Yes.
And I'm going to like enjoy that.
And you deserve this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you've done it for, without trials and without tribulations and you've just, magically become this like crazy music star. It's like you've done all the work to be here. You've done the physical hard work, but
That's
also the
right.
mental labor as well.
Yeah,
and I
just
think a lot of
everything.
people don't see that because they see snapshots and they want to see highlight reels.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's because I feel like in the perfect world, it's like people believe that can just happen overnight and maybe it'll happen to them overnight. And maybe it will, and that's great. Like, I wouldn't understand why anyone would judge them if that did happen. Mm-hmm. But life isn't perfect. Life's really hard and life's really messy. And life's like really crap a lot of the time. So it's like, it's meant to be hard and weird and like distressing. And like everybody feels that way. And if they don't, then that's great. And they should enjoy that while it lasts, because it's coming.
And that's it. And you know what? The thing is, like, without our like days that are down here, we can't see and appreciate and feel the days that are up here. And I think that's when I am having my moments where I'm like, wow, look how far I've come.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that because I know where I was and I'm like, I want to be there again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's shitty. And I know that there's going to be days in the future where I am there again. So when you can actually appreciate being like, wow, look what I've done.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it's not done in a selfish way. It's not done in a like, oh, wow, look at me. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like appreciating your wins because you know
You're like, I'm
what
a
it feels
tough
like.
bitch.
Yeah, I'm a bad bitch. And I've done that. And
That's right.
I think it's so important. I think especially as women.
Yeah.
And I know women in the entertainment industry, it is so important for us to actually praise our own wins.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
to highlight our own wins and to feel confident in our own wins because everyone else is telling us to not.
Yeah, and patronizing, going like, oh, you're just a little girl or whatever it is. It's like, nah,
Yes.
bro.
Yes.
Like, international export.
Yes. Bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
This is probably something that I actually would like to talk about as well. There's still so much sexism in the music industry. How do you deal with that?
Well, just as well to preface, it's like I was really late in the game to feminism. Like I didn't really know about it until I was like, I don't know, like 23 or something, I feel like. So I feel like when I first started, there was so much sexism, but it went under the radar because I didn't know.
Aware of it.
I didn't care, didn't know language, whatever.
Right.
I was just existing as like a flesh body, just like flicking around the world.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more I know, it's like almost the the harder it is because it's like, oh, that's what that is. There's a name for it.
Yes,
like, oh,
when your eyes are open to it, it's like, oop.
Yeah, like sometimes I wish I could just like lobotomize myself and just be like, oh, I don't know what it is.
Rose-coloured goggles.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that I know because it's like it makes things better because I can communicate better and like the people around me know what stuff is. But yeah, it's like I feel like majority of the time it is male dominated. Like I'm around just like essentially males 99% of my life, which I get along with blokes perfectly fine. I'm such a little macho person myself. But you know, it's like people grope me at shows. People, you know, speak to me like I'm less and less now because it's like it's kind of becoming more undeniable.
Yeah.
But like they still patronize or like ask me on dates inappropriately or like audience members like grope me and stuff. And I deal with it lots of different ways. Like sometimes I'm violent because I just am. I don't know why. I don't know what, like, say, for example, I've been on stage.
Because sometimes you need to be.
Sometimes you need to be. Sometimes I'm on stage and, like, someone will come up and they'll try to kiss me. They're just coming towards the stage. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, because I love the fans. I like, go down, reach and be like, hey, what's happening? Like, saying hello. Mm-hmm. They'll try and grab my face and stick their tongue in my throat and I'll just have to,
Holy
you know, it's like, it can be pretty intense. But at the same time, it's like they just instantly mean nothing to me. And it's like, if you're going to touch me, I'm going to touch you too.
Yeah.
But with my foot.
That sounds hectic, dude. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that.
Thank you.
What advice do you have for other young musicians?
I think just do your thing and don't listen to what other people say in general. Don't ignore the people around you just for the sake of being a smart ass, but you'll know what to do more than anyone else will know what to do.
Trust your own instincts.
Trust your own instinct, and you'll have your own intuition with things and your own flavors and your own tastes. And I think about so many things in history that people do, and then everybody hates it in the moment, but then in the future it becomes like the most famous artwork, the most famous movie, the most famous song.
Yeah.
So if people don't understand you, just like wait and be patient and don't tread on other people just to get where you're going. Always be conscious of like people that might need a hand up and a hand down wherever it is, and just do your thing without being a prick.
I love that. I love it.
Thank you.
And that's the thing as well. I think it's so important to understand no one has ever made a change by being the same as everyone else. Change happens by being weird and strange and by being the black sheep and by being the person that other people go, oh, don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyone who has ever made history in literally any format, whether it be music or science or the arts or wherever, has done it because they were a freaking weirdo.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the weirdos rule the world. So if any child is listening to this now or any adult is listening to this now and you're a freaking weirdo, dude, you are the luckiest person ever. Yeah, like, I know it doesn't feel like it now.
Yeah.
You've got the magic ticket.
Yeah, just do your weird
the
shit.
weirdos are going to run the world. I tell you what. Amy, you have 2 studio albums. You toured the world. You were on Coachella. What's next for you?
What's next? Well, this year we're trying to write some more stuff. So we've just like been fiddling with that. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I just want it to come naturally. Mm-hmm. And we're lucky enough that we can let that happen. So we'll do that. And then we're going to go just tour forever, just play more gigs. We're going to America again this year, Europe again this year. We're going to Japan for the first time this year.
Oh my God, love.
Which will be fun.
So exciting.
Yeah, but also, just living really. Just trying to live.
Just vibing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love it. How cool. You are so bold and so incredible. And I've had so much fun speaking to you. Okay, so we have a Bowly Me 3, which is a wrap-up of 3 different questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Period. Okay, number 1 is, I'm interested to see this one. What is one song that never fails to make you feel happy?
Hilltop Woods Nosebleed Section.
Oh, straight away. No hesitation.
I know.
Amazing. Actually, I'm curious. Do you ever listen to your own music? It's like to hype you up?
Sometimes I do. Not much, but sometimes.
Because the couple of songs that I've released or things that I've done, I'm like, ugh. No.
Yeah. I'll mainly do it like if I forget a lyric.
Or are you like, hell yeah, like this shit is fire?
Sometimes I'm like, it helps me understand myself more because I have no idea how I'm perceived by anybody else. And then I'll listen to it.
That's so interesting.
Like I'll listen to the album and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what people are seeing and hearing. I forget because I'm like, I'm like, have no concept of what the hell's going on. And then I'll listen to it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, put yourself into someone else's perspective. I do the same thing all the time. Like I'll like watch myself acting whatever and be like,
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how I'm perceived. Interesting.
Yeah, like I try and be like, I don't know who this is, and then I'll listen. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
can't-
that's
yeah.
who I am to the outside world.
Yeah, that's right. Or if I forget a lyric, I'll like listen to it and be like, oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Number 2, what is one piece of advice that you would give your 13-year-old self?
I wouldn't give her any advice because I wouldn't want to change anything.
I
just
love
want-
that answer.
I just want her to keep making mistakes because I've made so many mistakes and a lot of them have hurt myself. But I'd say keep making the mistakes. I wouldn't say anything. I just whisper it and disappear from the like future self.
You didn't see anything.
I want myself to make all the mistakes that I made. I want myself to be a dumb bitch. I want myself to just do everything the way it's done. Even like, you know, being an angsty teen or like being a loser, whatever it is, I just like keep doing it because who cares? And that's just, it's got me to here. And yeah, just
That's such
everybody
a
just
cool
keep being
answer.
yourself and
Don't change anything.
Don't change anything. Make mistakes. Make heaps of mistakes. Embarrass yourself. Be ashamed of yourself. It's normal. Like, I feel like there's so much, you know, pressure to not make a mistake ever. But it's like, I feel like everyone should just make heaps of mistakes.
Mistakes made
constantly
you who you
and like
are.
embarrass yourself
Yeah.
constantly because whatever you're doing, it should be embarrassing sometimes or something.
What's the fun if there's no embarrassment every here and there?
Yeah, that's right. At least you make people laugh.
Exactly. You can look back at it in 20 years and be like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. 3rd question. This one's going to be interesting. If you could be any Disney character, who would you be?
Probably be Mufasa.
Love. Okay. Yeah. Good answer.
It's the godfather of the lion world, and I'm
love that.
I'm for that.
I love that. That's a perfect answer.
Who's your answer?
Oh. Have you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph?
No.
You don't give me Disney vibes, but that's fine. I'll give you the rundown. So it's a movie.
Wreck-It Ralph like tennis?
No, like Wreck-It, like
Oh, Wreck-It.
wrecking things.
Yeah.
And it's this movie about these like video game characters, and there's this little character. Her name's Vanellope, and she drives race cars, but she's a glitch, and like everyone thinks that she's a bad code in the game because she glitches. And for the whole movie, everyone's like, oh, you're a glitch and we hate you and you can't race. And then people find out that her glitch is actually what her superpower is. And I'm like, oh my God,
that's
I love
cool.
that.
And you
It's
can
so
race
cute.
cars. So it's
Yeah, love that. So I can't drive cars in real life. I've had like 13 car crashes. So
my God.
we differ there, but that's fine. Anyway, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It's
so
been really
much
fun to chat with you. You're a legend.
Oh, so are you. Right back at you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, how cool is Amy? Also, her accent is my favorite thing ever. I could listen to her speak forever. People always say that I have such a thick Australian accent. I sound like a posh Brit compared to her. Oh my God, I love her. Guys, if you're looking for a new hyperfixation band to go and sink your teeth into, to really scratch that brain itch, go and listen to Amyl and the Sniffers. Go and listen to them. They are so good. Their music, Amy's voice in it, she's incredible. I love her. Her overall vibe, her energy, her aura. Chef's kiss. Incredible. Amy, I love you. I'm obsessed with you. Thank you so much for listening to Boldly Me. If you liked what you heard, make sure to rate and review the show on your podcast app if it lets you, and maybe even tell a friend. Most importantly, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and do whatever makes you feel happy. Bye!